Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? Um, I thought I would do a guitar lesson. I haven't done that in a while. This is my new setup where I just use my phone and not the stupid OBS Studio with the moderator disabled slyly by only taking off the audio, so it wouldn't look like you really, it wouldn't be so obvious. It could look like a mistake or a fluke, but I think I'm almost sure he did. Whatever. But I got the idea to do a lesson from the same person that I also got the idea to do Ice Cream Man, which I just did from, and that's the mailman. And I hadn't been his friend so much because he's a Christian. We always argued about that. Plus, he didn't seem to really be a fan. But today we talked a little, and he wasn't Christianing on me, and he seemed like a fan. And he said, "I got homework for you, Jimmie. Do Ice Cream Man by Van Halen." And I did. So hope you like it. Hope you guys all liked it. And he also wanted to know something about music theory, and I ended up giving him a little lesson because he does play guitar. So I figured, well, since I gave him the lesson, he said, "You don't really do that much, talk about that too much, do you, on your channel anymore, or whatever." I kind of thought, well, should I give you the idea that maybe I should do a lesson on what he was asking about and maybe elaborate a little. So I'm going to do that, see how it goes. Before I do that, I want to comment a little on the moderator, just a little bit more. You know, I don't need guy friends. I don't really do them. I don't really do that. If it turns out I get a friend, I just take it with a grain of salt. But the moderator I thought was different because I thought we connected over music, which we had in common. But he's still an asshole, and that music doesn't change that. And he's still a conservative, Republican, Trump worshiping closet Christian at heart. And so we're always going to disagree on that level, at least. And if the music isn't happening to counteract that or put that on mute for a while, there's nothing going on. Plus, he doesn't have time to do that. So we're not friends anymore, but whatever. He looks like an alien to me. He's got the little mouth and he's got very little hair. That's why he always wore a wig. He always had to wear a wig because he doesn't have hardly any hair, but whatever. I know enough about that. So the question the mailman asked me, that's enough. The question the mailman asked me today was about 145. He wanted me to explain that as applied to blues. And I instead of just doing that, I gave him a whole lesson on music. And I'd like to do the same for you guys. Basically what I told him, and maybe elaborate a little. So hope it goes good here. So I have the moderator here, which the moderator did make for me. Thanks for that. That's the one thing you can't take away because it's physical. You can't disable it. The mailman asked about 145, and I just gave him this treatise on music theory. I'm going to give it to you guys too. Why not, right? So, and one more thing about the breakthrough I just had about the 80s thing. I realized that I finally did what I wanted to do 37 years ago. That was a huge thing to take in. And I think I took 2 steps back first, like it gets worse before it gets better type of thing. I didn't know it, like I was taken aback, and I was like, hadn't processed it yet. I still haven't, but I'm better at it than I was a day or two ago. But then you make 4 steps forward when you get back, when you regroup. It is a good thing in the end. It's numbing at first because you spend 37 years looking at something, you finally get it, and you don't know what to do. It almost paralyzes you. You don't know what to do. Maybe I should do nothing. Whatever. But when you really do something, you have the breakthrough to help you do it better. So there's that, right? And plus, that's also the little silent little fear when you get a breakthrough that you're not going to get any others. But I have gotten a few others. So learning doesn't end with a breakthrough. Okay, 145 he asked about, but before I gave it to him in blues, I told him in general about 145. So let's be in the key of A, and let's say I'm in A major, then it would be 1 major, 4 major, 5 major. So that would be A major, D major, and E major. 3 chords. They're the nearest. If you start with 1 chord, the 2 nearest chords are a 5th up and a 5th down. Or you could say a 4th down and a 5th up. No, you could say a 5th wait, a fifth up or a fifth down, or you could say a fourth down or a fourth up, okay? But it's on the circle of fifths. You got one in the center and one on each side. So you got the 1, which is the A major, 4, which is D major, 5, which is E major. And that makes an A major scale. If you do minor, A minor, you have A minor, D minor. You could do E minor, but it doesn't sound very good. Make it E major. So you have A minor, that's 1 minor. D minor, that's 4 minor. 5 major, E major, that's 5 major. Now you have A harmonic minor. Okay, fair enough. And usually with the rhythms, you do straight eighth notes or straight 16th notes. And usually you do phrases in 4-bar groups, but not 12 bars. Usually it's 4, 8, 16, or 32. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You get that. It's multiples of 4 except for 12. So it's usually 4 bars and then another 4 bars to make 8 bars, and then another 8 bars to make 16 bars, and then another 16 to make 32, or sometimes maybe you could do another 8 to make 24, but that's slightly rare because that could be considered two 12s, and usually 12 bars isn't for Western classical type stuff. And there's that. Shift key, of course, all 12 major keys, all 12 minor keys. But then I said in the blues, you have 1, 4, 5 also, but you have a dominant 7th as your chord rather than a major or minor triad. So now you have 1, 7, it's A7, 4, 7, which is D7. By 7, I mean dominant 7th. It's really 7th, not 7. 5, 7th, or 5, 7, whatever. It would be E7, and then A7. Now the difference here, not only is the sound of the chord different, the number of notes in the chord is different, chords are different, but the progressions are, the voice movement is different. In triads, if I go from a major triad down a fifth, that's going up. If I go for a major triad down a fourth, that's down. But it reverses with dominant 7th chords. With dominant 7th chords, if I do a 5, 7, 1, 7, that's actually downward movement. Whereas if I do a 4, 7 to 1, 7, that's actually upward movement. So since we like upward movement in Western music, it becomes the 4 becomes more important than the 5 in blues, because the 4 to 1 is upward movement. The 5 to 1 is downward moving. And we don't like downward as well as we like upward. So 5 to 1 is secondary to 4 to 1. 4 to 1 is up, 5 to 1 is down. Whereas in triads, 5 to 1 is up, 4 to 1 is down. That's why in classical music we like 5 and 1. In blues we like 4 and 1. But it's not really, it's 4, 7 to 1, 7. That's why there's more 4 chords in a blues progression than there are 5 chords. The 5 chord only appears in the turnaround. Because bars 1 through 4 are basically just 1. Go to 4 maybe just for a second. Or even just not do that. Then the bars 5 and 6 are the 4 chord. Then 7 and 8 are the 1 chord. Then 9, bar 9 is 5. Bar 10 is 4. Bar 11, bar 12 is 5 again. So 5 only gets 2 bars in the whole 12 bars, and that would be bars 9 and 12. All the other 10 bars are 1 and 4. So that, and the reason for that is because of the upward movement. We like to hear that more than we like to hear the downward stuff. It's one reason we like major over minor. Minor seems to be downward moving. Whereas major is kind of upward moving. just like that upward sound more. In fact, they used to have a melodic minor that would be upward. If you ascended, it was actually sharper than if you descended. The upward version was, the downward version was, it actually changed whether you're going up or down. But then they stopped doing that, just made it all one thing. Melodic minors, both upward is both times. I goofed there, didn't I? So anyway, so that's and then with the blues, rather than straight eighths, rather than going or straight sixteenths, you have swung eighths, which is, or you could do swung sixteenths. Swung sixteenths, I think. Let's do it better. That's swung sixteenths. Swung eighths is, as opposed to straight eighths or straight sixteenths. So that swing is actually triplet orientated. You play what would be a triplet if you want to be, but you leave. You tie the first two triplets together as one note, which is twice as long as the second note, which makes it like an eighth note, but as swung because it's twice as long as the second note. It's 2 to 1, two eighths triplets, then one triplet. So the two triplet is held together as one swung eighth. So the swung eighth is twice as long as the non-swung eighth because 2 is twice 1. So you could think of it as but you go. So it's triplet-based swing. Inverted negative swing, which is what the term I invented, would be the opposite. If the second two eighth swung eighths were tied together, the first note one would be 1 swung eighth. The second note would be 2 swung eighths. The first note would be half as long as the second eighth note, and that would be inverted swing. It would be kind of like marching band. It's not really used in popular music too much, but I kind of like it. It can be used. It's used in Elephant Gun by David Lee Roth with Steve Vai on guitar. A lot of the I'm not really me, but don't point that thing at me. That kind of thing. Maybe it's I'm in the wrong key and everything, but don't point that thing at me. Wait, don't point that thing at me. That kind of thing. That's in F sharp, but I didn't rehearse doing that. I just remember it from here. I'm just talking about it. I remember playing the Elephant Gun. So anyway, and then in blues you have 12 bars. You don't have 8 or 16 like in most music, like other non-blues music. You have the first 4 bars are basically asking a question or making a statement. My baby's gone. My baby's gone. My baby's gone. That kind of thing. And then the second time, the second 4 bars are repeating that again. Yeah, my baby's gone. My baby's gone. Yeah, I don't know when she's coming back. That's a repeat of the question, or a repeat of the call, or repeat of the statement. It's repeated once more. And then the last 4 bars are answering it or responding to the call. I don't care, she's gone. I feel better anyway. Yeah, go away. So I just made that up, but whatever. The first is my baby's gone. Baby's gone. Don't know how. Baby's gone. My baby's gone. Yeah, my baby's gone. Don't know how long. Yeah, my baby's gone. I don't know how long. Yeah, my baby's gone. Let's see if I care. Yeah. Don't care. Whatever. I just made that up, but and that's 12 bars rather than 8 or 16. So it's got a different structure. It's got the swung eighths when you play it. It's got the different chords, different kind of chord, 7th chord instead of minor or major triad. It's got there's an emphasis on 4 and 1 rather than 5 and 1. And the only other thing I can think of that's different, really, besides maybe the horns and the different instruments, because you usually don't use saxes and horns in classical as much, but in blues they're more accepted, trumpets and saxophones, whereas in classical it's a lot of cellos and violins and sometimes piano, but then again piano can be blues too. But the other difference is the scale choice. That's what I told the mailman also. Scale choice is non-diatonic in general. Even though you could think of it as all bunch of mixolydian modes, you can think of it as A mixolydian, then the D mixolydian, A mixolydian, E mixolydian, D mixolydian, A mixolydian, and that works. You can do that. It's like very sophisticated. Like Vi does that a lot in the Crossroads licks that are bluesy. He would instead of playing simple 5-note scale, he'll go see, he went up to the 4 into the mixolydian, then 5 back to the 1 into the mixolydian. Clever. I like that sound, but it's not typically what you do in blues. Typically you just play one scale for the whole thing, and it's a minor pentatonic generally, sometimes with an added 5 note, which makes it a blues scale generally, or you can play major, the parallel major of that, which would be actually the minor pentatonic and or blues scale down a minor third from where you are. So you could play first you could play an A minor pentatonic scale, A blues scale. Secondly, you can play an F sharp blues scale, which is actually, an F sharp minor pentatonic scale, which is actually a major scale, a major pentatonic scale. Or you can play an F sharp blues scale, which actually makes it an A Wiseman scale, because an F sharp blues scale is actually an A minor pentatonic scale with an added major third. I think. Let me make sure that's correct. You have a major. No, that wouldn't be true. That's sorry. No, that's not true. It's not a Wiseman scale. It's actually an A major pentatonic scale with an added minor third. But then you play it down because that actually makes an F sharp blues scale. It's good to think of it that way and play it 3 frets down as a F sharp blues scale. But it seconds as a major pentatonic scale with an added minor third. The Wiseman scale is the opposite. Wiseman scale is an A minor pentatonic with an added major third. That's different. Not as pretty as a major scale. And not as pretty as a blues scale. It exists theoretically, and that's why I call it the Wiseman scale, because no one thought of it. No one labeled it, and no one thought of that one scale separately before I did, but whatever. As far as I know. So the melodies are different. It's more pentatonic based than diatonic based, like classical music. And the funny thing about that is that the chords in blues are more complex because they're 4-note chords, but the scales are less complex because they're 5-note scales. In classical, the chords are less complex because they're triads. The scales are more complex because they're diatonic scales. So classical music is diatonic with triads. Blues is pentatonic with 7th chords. But that's the two medium means versus extremes. And one has a complex and a simple, and a simple and a complex. But then there's the two extremes. What about diatonic scales and 7th chords? That's jazz. What about pentatonic scales and triads? That's country. So country is the simplest. Pentatonic and scales and triads. Jazz is the hardest. Diatonic scales and 7th chords. classical and blues are in between, because classical is triads and diatonic scales, and blues are seventh chords and pentatonic scales. And we meaning most people, like the jazz, like the classical and blues more than the jazz and the country, because the jazz and the country are extreme. People think jazz is too complex, and people think country is too simple, but people like blues and people like classical. I'm in that group. I don't like country that much. It's too simple, and I have a hard time with jazz because it's too complex. But having said that, one thing I thought of before I did this video was I made a jazz breakthrough a little bit. I realized I do understand jazz. I do get it. And then that actually was a catalyst to make me want to do this video. That's actually a cool thing, isn't it? So you want to do that? Want to do classical and country too? Country and jazz. Jazz is all seventh chords, but it's not just dominant seventh chords. It's any seventh. It's diatonic. It's 7-note scales with the seventh chords, meaning the 1, 3, 5, 7 4-note chords that go within that scale. Let's say I'm in the key of A. I have A major seventh. I have B minor seventh. I have C sharp minor seventh. I have D major seventh. I have E dominant seventh. I have A minor seventh. I have B minor seventh on 5 or half diminished, and then back to A major seventh. And you play those chords. So if you played more notes. Do it again. Already sounds like Alan Holdsworth a little, doesn't it? Not as good, but similar sound. But you don't play them up and down usually. You play them in fifths, but you play them usually descending, going down fifths, which means you're going to be descending most of the time, which is, I don't know why they do that, but that's what they like to do. They do a thing called back cycling, where they start with a 1, they jump all the way to maybe all the way to a 6. So that's up a ways. Then from the 6, you go down a fifth to the 2. From the 2, you go down a fifth to the 5. From the 5, you go down a fifth to the 1. So it becomes, these are hard to play for me. 1 major 7, that's A major 7. F sharp minor 7, that's 6 minor 7. B minor 7, that's 2 minor 7. E down to 7th, that's 5 7. A major 7th, that's 1 major 7th. But then you can go further up the strokes. You can go up to the major 3rd chord, which would be C sharp minor 7. So I'm going to go back. Let's try that. 1 major 7. We go up a major 3rd to the C sharp minor 7th. Then I go up down a 5th again to the F sharp minor 7th, down a 5th to the B minor 7th, down a 5th to the E major 7th, and down a 5th to the A major 7th. So you're always jumping up a positive direction on the circle of fifths, but then crawling back down negatively on the circle of fifths. You jump up a bunch of fifths, but then you go down 1/5 at a time. So it's almost always descending in character. That's when you go way up, it's ascending, but that's just a single jump. Then you go sliding down, which is all descending motion. Because as these 7th chords progress down fifths, they're actually going down in melody too. You just work it out. It's true. Like the 5 to 1 would be, that's already downward, isn't it? This went down from here to here. So this went down from here to here, so that's downward. This stayed the same, but this one went down a whole step. So you have an average downward movement of 1 whole step per note. It's the average downward movement of down a whole step, down a half step, because the 1 is down a half step, the other 2 are neutral, stay the same, the other one goes down a whole step. So on the average, you have 1. Wait, let me figure that out again. This stays the same. That stays. You know what? It's less. It's not even a whole. It's not even a complete half step down. It's less than that because two of the notes stay the same, don't they? So you got two neutrals, and one down a whole, one down a half. It's not down a half. It's down. It's down like less than a half. So it's not even an average. It's not even an even average. It's not even an even average. It is downward movement. These two stay the same. This one goes down a half step. This one goes down a whole step. So you do have downward movement. It's not uniform. It's not an even divisible thing though. And then the 2 to 5 is also downward movement because that would be from here to there. Hear that? So this note stays the same. This note stays the same. But this one goes down a whole step. This one goes down a half step. Then once again, it's the same. Two stay the same. One goes down a half step. One goes down a whole step for the 5/7 to one major 7 too. So a lot of downward stuff. It's all downwardness. They're always going down. I don't know if I like that or not. Maybe they should go up, but then again, that's not how they wrote it, and that's not how jazz is played. It's always up, and cycle downward. Then it's usually swung, and not really 12 bars, but usually 8, 16, or 32. Little obtuse for me, it's kind of crammed in and complex and close quarters. I don't know if I like it too much, but it's jazz. It's good. I can handle some jazz. Actually, I love fusion, which is jazz rock, right? Fusion of jazz and rock, and fusion. Fusion is confusion. It's one of the things I thought of. It might be an original saying. I don't know, but I don't really believe that. I like fusion actually. Now, country is the simplest one. It's got pentatonics and it's got triads. So you're going to look at 1, 4, 5 all major triads. You're not usually swinging, I don't think, but maybe you are. I'm not a country expert. But then for the melody, you're not going to play a major scale. That wouldn't sound country. You play a major pentatonic scale. So you're playing a major pentatonic scale with triads. So it's the simplest type of music there is. You want to hear some? Say it, but that sounds kind of good. I kind of like it, but I don't really like it. Devil Went Down to Georgia kind of thing. Well, Devil Went Down to Georgia is kind of a minor thing, so probably it's not a good choice. Kind of Led Zeppelin-ish, like Celebration Day or something. A celebration. If you fall asleep, it's so simple and kind of boring, but whatever, it exists. It's country music. And Eric Johnson, he was great. He could take a country song and actually rock it out. I actually like it when he does it. Country crap. Anyway, live you guys, peace, love, and rock and roll.